A wise man once said a song with no lyrics is like a song without words. Let's talk about that. Alright everybody, so welcome to our third and fourth lessons on songwriting, and today we're talking about lyrics, alright? So I'm going to cover two approaches that I personally use. There are, well, I don't want to say thousands, yeah, maybe thousands of approaches to this. Some people can just sit down and pick up an instrument and let the words come out.
You can go, okay, maybe that's something, but if you don't go, sunlight's beating on the corners of the walls, and I'm a Mr. Know-It-All. Heaven calls, get yourself right now.
Unfortunately, for most of us, that talent isn't there, okay? So I'm going to talk about two methods, but if you have other methods, I'd love to hear them. Leave a comment below. If you noticed in the first two videos, I've been kind of writing a song and going along with you guys in these tutorials. And I've actually decided to record my song professionally. I'm going to be using a group out of England called the Online Recording Studio. If you want to record your song professionally, go ahead and check the links below. Pretty cool stuff, alright? So I'm going to talk about two methods that I use. One I call title first, and the other I call character inspiration. Title first is a method where you start with the title of a song, alright? So some people carry around song books, for example, when inspiration strikes. And that's a great idea. But, so where do we get the inspiration? Well, one is a lot of time, well, there's a lot of different ways to do this. It could be a line in a movie, it could be something your friend said. The other day, for example, I was watching Fargo Season 2, and Nick Offerman said,
"Keep it running, Sonny. I'll be back before the beer goes warm."
And I thought to myself, man, that is a country song if I had ever heard one. So the moments can come really anywhere. That's why it's good to have a pen and paper on you if you're serious about songwriting, wherever you go. But there's another really cool way you can do it. The title of books. Now, I wouldn't recommend this being the only way you do this, but I think it's a great way to get you started down that road and thinking about what makes a catchy title, alright? The titles of these books aren't copywritten, especially older books. If you wanted to, you could write a song called 1984. Except I would recommend maybe digging a little deeper in your inspiration. Amazon is a great place to do that. Kind of, if I was thinking maybe I'd write a country song, so I searched for cowboys, and I got a lot of cowboys with no shirts on. But then in the left, you can choose by time, and I went to Renaissance, and I got these two titles. Okay, The House of Wisdom and The Midnight Witch. Let's look at that first one, The Midnight Witch. Okay, so we look at that title, Midnight Witch. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pause the video for 5 seconds, and I want you with a pen and paper to think about all the adjectives, ideas, emotions of scary, lonely, desolate. What is this person? What is this idea? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause, and then I'm going to give you what I think about it. So pause, see you in 5 seconds. Okay, cool. So having said that, when I think about Midnight Witch, what I think about is a lonely soul. I think about a wanderer. I don't think about witchcraft or anything like a fantasy. I think of an outcast. I think of a bad influence. I think of a person you don't want to be in contact with. So those are the dynamics that I'm going to use to inspire me to play with some lyrics. So why don't I just go ahead and grab a ukulele, and I'm going to sing the first things that come to my mind. These are not preempted, they're going to be improvised, because most of what you're going to be doing, I think, as a songwriter is going to be a little improvisational. But the idea is just to keep going until you get something that you're familiar with. Now, it's important to know when you're writing a song that it's not going to be perfect the first time. The most important thing that I want you to take away from this video is it's not about writing songs, it's about rewriting songs over and over and over again. Your song's not going to be perfect the first time. Maybe the chorus is really nice, but the verses are weak, or vice versa. You have to be open to tweaking these ideas. So let me grab that ukulele and let's see what we can get. For me, right away, that sounds like a blues song. I would think about your personality, these titles, your style of music, and how they combine. We can think, Midnight Witch, she come knock around my door. I'm just making this up, alright? I haven't pre-thought this. Well, the Midnight Witch, she come knock around my door. But my wife says she don't want that witch knocking around here no more. Alright, so that's just one way. But blues is a great way to learn to write songs because you really only need one rhyme. So if you're feeling a little overextended by this, that's a great way. I'll put a link to a video I did called How to Write Blues Lyrics. But it's not limited to that. Let's do a chord progression in the key of G minor. So now I have a chord progression and I have an idea for the Midnight Witch. So I'm just going to start to thinking about that and start to throw some lyrics out. The Midnight Witch, she's no good. See her walking around my lonely neighborhood. Maybe she's just another lonely soul. I don't want to get close, so I'll never know. Alright? And I'm just going to start to throw out lyrics based on that title and see what that inspires me and see where it goes. Now, having said that, continuing with these ideas, you kind of want to think about what are you going to write first, the hook or the verse. Most of the people are going to tell you that the hook is the most important. Most people are going to tell you the hook is the place to start. And I would agree with that 9 out of 10 times. But if your inspiration goes to a verse, that's okay. Maybe a hook. Let's think about it. Let's write one together. Da 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 da. Midnight witch, I know you no good. Leave me alone, 'cause I know you no good. Take me down, bury me deep. You think I'm just trash and cheap. Midnight witch, midnight witch, midnight witch, now leave me alone. Midnight witch, midnight witch, go out now and leave my home. Bow, bow. So that is not going to be a chart stopper, alright? It doesn't make your heart go da-doom, and palpitate or anything like that. And I can totally understand that. But the idea is to kind of fail and keep going, and I would keep going around this circle until I feel something that I'm gonna vibe with. So these titles can come from anywhere. You can write them down from movies, from other songs. It can be in a line in another song that inspires you. It can be the title of a book. It's sometimes when I hear people say things on the news, in the TV. So I always have my pen and paper. Just the other day I heard Ray Lewis, a linebacker, a former linebacker in the NFL, say something. He said, I was so poor, I only had my morals, okay? So just my morals would be something that inspires me. I only had my morals. And that idea would be something that I would start to pin a hook around and then fill in the verses with the chords. So if you already have your chord progression, you can think about these ideas as getting that as the main subject and seeing what that inspires you. This is the title first approach, okay? So what would you do? What would I recommend? Get that book, write down a bunch of titles, and see what sticks to your chord progression and see what inspires you. And my goal at that point, if I say I'm going to write a song, is sit down and not stop until I have an entire song, okay? It helps a little bit to understand the structure. If you're just beginning, I would structure your songs verse, chorus, middle 8, chorus, okay? Which basically means a 16-bar verse, an 8-bar chorus, 16-bar verse, 8-bar chorus, an 8-bar change, and a last chorus. Now, within those chord progressions that you've been writing from the other videos, you can use the same chord progression for all those pieces, or you can use 3 different chord progressions, 2 different chord progressions. That's up to you. Analyze your favorite songs. Do they follow this pattern? Do they change? Do they use one chord progression? Do they use multiple chord progressions? You can see a lot of ideas within the music that you enjoy, okay? Alright, so where do you get these titles and inspirations from? They come from all over the place. It's really nice to have a pen and paper handy. TV, newspapers, headlines, books of titles, something funny your friend says. Any phrase that's powerful can be created and elaborated to make a song, because that emotion you feel when you hear it is the emotion that you're going to try to create in your music, okay? Alright, so that's the title first approach. Feel free to have fun with it. Do a lot of different things with it. Another approach I use a lot is one I call character inspiration. So the particular song that I've been doing for this series follows this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and talk about where the inspiration came from. I had a friend named Mike who would sing a song, and it was called Walk This Way. Alright, and it wasn't, or maybe it was Pretty Woman, Walk This Way, maybe it was Pretty Woman, but it was a blues. It was like, pretty woman, why don't you walk my way? Something along those lines. And it was about him playing guitar, and he saw a pretty girl and he liked her, but he never said anything, and she walked on by. He was hoping that she would approach her. She never did. So hearing that song, I started to think about that character. Who is that character? Did it strike confidence in you to see someone that you'd like to know and that you let them walk by? Is it strength? Is it doubt? Is it normal? So in analyzing the person from this first person context who sang this song, I created a person that I felt was vulnerable, but average, not a bad guy, not a weak person, not a strong person, not just a very, very normal person that wanted to have an interaction with someone that couldn't. And in doing so, in creating this perspective, I was able to create something, a hook that sounds like this. All I want is to spend some time with you, and to think that you might just like it too. If you remember my chord progression from the other videos, my chorus was B flat minor, F. Okay, so I've created a chorus, I've created an emotion, I've created a mood. My character is solemn, not necessarily lonely, but interested in someone, but they don't have the courage to go talk to this person. I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to, right? So what I'm going to do is build a story now based on this hook, and that is what my verses are going to be. My verse progression was an F, A7, G minor 7, G minor 7, C7, okay? Now what I'm doing is I'm thinking about this again from this perspective of this person that's a very normal person. And that is where I started from. Now keep in mind, this one I have worked on previous to this video, so that's why it's a little more polished, but I did fail a lot. If you would have had a camera on me, you would have seen me sing the verses over and over and over again and build on them little by little, okay? So this is what I've come up with. I am just an ordinary man, nothing more than that. Yeah, I don't have a master plan, nothing's in my head. Well, all I want is to spend some time with you. Alright, see how the themes connect. But I'm never, whoops, I forgot the chorus. Think that you might just like it too. Okay, and at this particular moment, I'm not very stressed about melody and phrasing. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, for the last installment in these 4 videos, is how to take our lyrics, phrase them better, and shape them with melody, okay? So at this point, I'm just trying to get the lyrics out there, and then after that, once I have a complete lyric or ensemble for the entire song, I'm going to start to refine them, okay? So, staying within that, I'm going to continue to develop the idea of this character. Now, ordinary person wants to spend some time with someone, thinks that they might like it, but that attention isn't reciprocated. Now, maybe this person stays thinking about this idea. So having said that, my second verse was created continuing the story with still this person fantasizing about the opportunity to spend some time, okay? And this is what I came with. I think I'll take a little walk. I could use the stroll. How am I supposed to free my mind when she's got my soul? Well, all I want is to spend some time with you, and I hope that you might just like it too. Okay, and then I like solos. So what I'm going to do for my middle 8 or my third section is I'm going to play my chord progression 2 times, and this would be where I would insert a solo. Wow, 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 down, 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 wow, 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 and then into the last chorus. But the song still feels like it doesn't have a lot of conclusion. So how can we conclude this song? Well, what I've done is I've extended the chorus and I've left our first person disappointed. So the last chorus would sound like this. All I want is to spend some time with you, and think that you might just like it too. Oh yeah. But I'll never get to spend my time with you, because I just let you walk on through. Alright, and that creates conclusion to our story, creates conclusion to our character. So that's how I used this character that I heard in another song that inspired me to tell a first person story perspective using these chord progressions that I've created, okay? And now my song is starting to take shape. The last piece that I would do is shape that melody and phrase it, which is what we're going to do next week. We're going to look at vocal phrasing, which is a huge part of what we're doing with songwriting that often gets overlooked. All right, and remember too, we only have one more, but after that, we're going to be doing a songwriting contest with a ukulele giveaway, all right? So just keep on writing these songs. I'm sure they're all lovely. I want to hear them. Tag me at TenThumbs Pro because I'd love to give you guys some feedback for your writing process too, okay? All right, so this was just 2 methods I used to write lyrics. 2 of many out there. Again, leave a comment below and let us know what method you prefer. And let me know how your song is taking shape, all right? This is week 3, so next week we're gonna start the phrasing. I look forward to hearing what you're doing. Remember to tag me at TenThumbs Pro on Instagram. Life is good, my friends, okay? And I will see you next Sunday in our songwriter series. Until then, have a lovely day.